what I'm talking about!
Alright, here we go with a look at the Tapco Intrafuse stock for the Ruger 1022. In this video I'm going to show you how it assembles and installs onto your Ruger 1022 with a standard factory tapered barrel. Let's go ahead and get into the packaging here. I'll show you what you get. This is the current manufacturer here. It has a mil-spec buffer tube. This is the difference between the commercial and the mil-spec. The commercial has got some vented ridges in it, and the mil-spec is straight and smooth. I commented in the last video that the two have some different dimensions to it. You can almost, at least I have in the past, you can kind of compress this a little bit, and it just seems like it's a little more cheaply made than the commercial stock was. But it's nice. It's got a nice finish to it. It's got a nice look to it. Then you get your saw style pistol grip and upper cover for the top part of your chassis that encases your barrel to your stock. Your actual chassis here, and this has a little cover that reveals a Picatinny rail. You want to mount a angle foregrip, flashlight, vertical grip, laser, something of that nature. Nice Picatinny rail, and it's nice that if you don't want to use it, they give you a little cover that fits the profile of the rest of your stock and really conceals that Picatinny rail well. Then you get an angled tube. This one angles down so that you can elevate your sights if you're going to use your factory iron sights. And actually I like the Ruger 1022 factory iron sights. I like those a lot. They're really low to the barrel, and I like that notch in post kind of setup. The only thing is, if you're going to use the Tapco stock to utilize your factory iron sights, you basically have to have your stock fully extended, because it's kind of riding on this track, elevating it. If you're fully collapsed, you're really not elevated a whole bunch. As you extend out and your stock is extending out, your distance gets longer, and it elevates that sight right where your eye is. So if you want to use your iron sights, you need to use your angled tube. If you're going to use your angled tube to use your iron sights, you're probably going to have to extend your stock most of the way out instead of using it in one of the shorter positions. That's been my experience. Now myself, I prefer a more compact setup, so I like running my stocks at shorter lengths of pull. I don't like the idea that I need to be extended out more like this. And that's been my experience. So then you get a package of screws to assemble everything. Let's get this packaging out of the way. Let's get this thing all tossed together here. Alright, so take your pistol grip, and it's got a little storage compartment down here, little wire that keeps it closed. You pull the wire back, drop your lid down, and reveal there's two holes down there. You want the one to the back. Put that screw in there like that, and then get yourself started up there. 1/2-inch driver. And start threading your bolt into your chassis, drawing your pistol grip up. Now you're threading a metallic heavy built bolt into polymer. So you don't have to get super carried away with this. You just want to draw this up. And this is pretty well thought out, because you can see that there's like a little ridge here, and this pistol grip kind of sits onto that ridge, keeping it from rotating, and the screw just bolts on. It's a very solid design. It's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so you get a little sling loop here that's one piece fixed to this hex nut. You could put that in the front here and use it as a second point for a 2-point sling, or you could put it in the back here and use it as a single point sling loop. I think I'm going to go ahead and put it back here. This is Toaster Crumb's rig. I don't know that he's going to use a 2-point sling. If he did anything, I bet he would probably use a 1-point sling, but I'm going to set that back here. You can always swap it out. Just so everything looks more uniform, you've got 3 screws and 3 nuts. They do that so that if you wanted to put your sling loop up front, you still have 2 screws and 2 nuts to secure your stock to your chassis. Now, because I'm going to use one of my screws with my sling loop back here, I will have an extra. This screw up here, unless you're putting the sling loop on, does nothing. But it would fill that little hole in the front of your stock and make it look more uniform with the back. That's what I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and put our stock tube into our chassis. Kind of snug. You're probably going to have to give it a couple taps. Just like that. They give you a couple washers here. I presume that these 2 are for the back here. I have never needed them. I have never used them. I have assembled half dozen of these stocks, the Generation 1s, and half dozen of the Generation 2, and I've never used them, never needed them. For the thicker washer here, that is needed up here. As your stock tapers down, this dimension gets smaller. So if you were going to use your sling loop up here, this would just rattle back and forth because it wouldn't draw up tight. That's what this washer is for. So I'm going to toss that in there. And since we're going to mount the sling loop on the right side of the gun, I'm going to go ahead and put my nut on the right side of the gun, keep everything uniform. Press this down, use the screw to help press it down. It's kind of a tight fit. Turn this around. Take a 1/8 Allen key or driver and draw that up. You know what, I'm going to put the washer on the other side. That will make more sense. If I would have been putting the single point, if I would have been putting the single point sling loop on there, it would not have mattered. But you can see that the screw kind of stuck out a bit. So let's set it in here like this. Set it in here like that. And draw that in. That looks just a little better. There's less screw hanging out the side. Take our next nut and try and get that pressed into place here. It's a very snug fit, and that's nice for keeping it in place. Kind of a bear to get it installed. But I guess I would rather have things snug than sloppy. This is actually a very cleverly thought out 1022 stock. I've always really liked the Tapco Generation 1 Intrafuse. Let's see. Just straight back and forth like that. You have a few options of how you want to orient the sling loop. Okay. pieces off to the side here. Now we're ready for our barreled receiver. This is Toaster Crumb's rig here. He has a standard Ruger 1022 with an 18.5-inch carbine barrel. The upgraded parts, he has a Superior Concepts Incorporated oversized charging handle. He has an aluminum, the old manufacturer, Archangel extended magazine release. He has an Archangel Picatinny rail and an Archangel mock suppressor for the end of his standard tapered barrel. He also is running a Vortex Strikefire 2. So let's set this into place here. Put your safety halfway between safe and fire. Get that rock down into place. Safety back into safe. Take down screw. Draw that up nice and snug. Take your upper cover here and get your screws started. I like how accessible these screws are, how easy it is to get to them. Makes taking this firearm down wearing this stock, makes breaking the rifle down a breeze when you go to clean it. You know what? I forgot to do my safety check before I put my barreled receiver in. Obviously you could see there was no magazine, but I should have cleared the chamber and shown that there was nothing in the firearm to promote that safe habit. I guess I'm probably just going to trade my comments here. The safety haters can take a break because I didn't do it. I'm talking about it now, so I guess chime in with your hateful comments now. But the safety Nazis out there are going to have a fit that I put a barreled receiver into a stock before safety checking it. Goodness me. So anyway, we're almost set up here. I'm going to go ahead and remove this cover and toss a Tapco Intrafuse vertical grip. Where do I want to put this thing? Right here. This one is my modified version. It is not as short as the stubby. It was formerly the full size. I just kind of felt like the full size was just too much in hand. This is actually very similar in length to the Magpul MOE vertical grip. So I like the way that that sits, and visually complete it with a BX 25 round magazine. That is how simply the Tapco Intrafuse Generation 1 stock installs onto a Ruger 1022 with a standard tapered factory barrel. It's a big world out there, and we're bound to run into a shady situation. Until then, keep your gear on you.
I'm really, really sorry. I apologize unreservedly. I offer a complete and utter retraction. The imputation was totally without basis in fact and was in no way fair comment and was motivated purely by malice. And I deeply regret any distress that my comments may have caused you or your family, and I hereby undertake not to repeat any such slander at any time in the future.